Welcome everybody to FrontStreetFights.com, also our Facebook page and our YouTube page. I'm here at Combat Fitness, Straight Blast Gym, Idaho, with Matt Jones. Matt, of course, getting ready to main event Front Street Fights 8 Young Gun, presented by Bodybuilding.com this Saturday at CenturyLink Arena. And that main event, as you're well aware, is a featherweight bout, and it's the first ever title fight to be awarded in the history of Front Street Fights. Before we really get into the title and what that means, just how did this fight camp go, and how are you feeling today?
Okay, so this fight camp, honestly, it was a little rough. You know, it got really rough towards the end, but that just means I was training hard. I was being pushed. But overall, the camp went great. I feel more than ready to take this fight, and more importantly, I feel ready to compete at the best level I can. So.
And you mentioned this fight camp was tougher than some of the other ones. What made it different than some of your past fight camps?
I feel like the team made it different. You know, the team knows I'm fighting for a title. The team's going to push me. The team's going to make sure that, you know, I get in there and I compete well and that I win, because this is a team sport, and even though it's me fighting for the title, you know, the whole team's behind me. So.
When a title's on the line, how much more does that add intensity-wise to the training camp or the thought process behind it? Obviously, you train the same for every fight, changes every fight, but when a title's on the line, does that add just that much more to your training in your camp?
You know, it did in the beginning, but then, of course, one of my good coaches, Matt May, he told me just take it as another fight, you know. Go in there, and that's all it is. It's another fight, compete the same, and I'll do fine. So I started, after he told me that, I took it to heart, and honestly, like, a lot of stress went off my shoulders. So, but I'm still taking it seriously, just as I take all my fights. But yeah.
Let's take a little bit step back. Of course, I believe this is your fifth fight with us, or your fourth fight with us. Obviously, you made your pro debut with us back at Front Street Fights 2, which was a loss. But ever since then, you've been on a tear. Won your other 3 fights with us, won a fight at the Clash. Just talk about how you've evolved over the last year and a half as a fighter to go on this 4-fight win streak that you're currently on.
So I just took wrestling a lot more seriously. It's not as big of a mystery to me. You know, I did not grow up wrestling, but ever since I started training at Suplex and then really telling to my coaches, like, hey, I need to work my wrestling, and start patching holes, I feel like that's what changed from that first pro fight that I lost to. You know, I fought a very, very talented wrestler, got out-grappled, and yeah, I just knew what I needed to fix, and I'm constantly trying to evolve. So that's the biggest fix. So.
The goal of every fighter when they get into this game, no matter what level it is to be the best at their weight class, at the sport as a whole, and to climb to the top, and of course that really is a title. Obviously, competing for your first pro title is one thing and something pretty special for a fighter, but also to know that you're competing for the first title in franchise history. Talk about what an honor that is for you personally and what this actually means to you.
Yeah, I feel very honored that you guys would offer me the chance to win this title, and it's a big thing for Front Street. It just shows that Front Street's growing. You know, after the 145 title, you guys probably introduce another one, maybe another weight class, but I'm only fighting 145. But you know, I feel honored that I was the one chosen to do this. So.
Of course, again, we were talking to Matt Jones here at Combat Fitness, Straight Blast Gym, Idaho. Moving on specifically to this Saturday, you're 2 days away from the fight at the time of this interview. Nerves, how you feeling? You relaxed? What are you doing over these next couple days?
So next couple days is going to be a weight cut. It's pretty simple for me to weight cut, always has been. So I'm going to do some light pad work with my coach. Other than that, really just cutting weight and relaxing, and you know, just waiting for the moment. So.
Speaking of that moment, of course, the guy across the cage from you, also trying to take that title from you, Josh Tyler. What do you know of Josh? What have you heard of Josh? And kind of what are you expecting from this bout?
I heard Josh is a tough opponent and that he's a good wrestler. You know, he's a little older than me. Other than that, I haven't looked him up at all. I haven't watched any video. I just like I said on my radio interview, I try to study my opponent as I fight them, figure out a way to beat them. You know, that's part of the puzzle. But honestly, I feel like this is my biggest challenge, and that's how you grow. You know, you got to step out of your comfort zone. So I know what I'm up against.
Do you feel like that's more of an advantage? Obviously, you go into the fight with some sort of game plan. You don't just go, okay, here I am, I'm going to go. Yeah. But do you think that's more of an advantage to be able to figure out your opponent on the fly than rather rely on a set game plan?
You know, I feel like it depends on the person. You know, it works that way for me. Other people, they got to study their opponent. You know, it just depends on the individual.
talk about, we've talked about the moment, the atmosphere. We've talked about your opponent, the title. You're not unfamiliar with the Front Street Fights cage. This time, again, a little bit different. You know what it's feeling like, obviously, to step inside one of these, but inside CenturyLink Arena. What's that moment going to be like, that walkout? How different is it going to be? How special is it going to be? And just the nerves before the fight, if there are any, knowing how different this fight has been from your rest.
Honestly, it's my first time fighting for a title, so I can't say how I'm going to feel. Every time I walk out to a fight, it's a different experience. A mix of emotions. But as the moment the cage closes and the ref says, "Are you ready?" and it's time to fight, everything goes out the window and it's just fight time. So I definitely could give you an interview after that and let you know how it felt. So.
Well, hopefully we will be talking to you after the fight, and you're wearing a nice little piece of gold around your waist. So, final thoughts. I want to give you a moment to just kind of address the fans watching or listening right now, and what you want to say to your fans right now before you hit the cage on Saturday.
Yeah, first and foremost, the sport would be nothing without the fans. Appreciate you guys coming out to support. Big thanks to the team and my coaches, everyone that's been helping me out, my family. No need to mention names. You guys know who you are. Everyone's been helping me out, and it's an honor that I'm in this position, and I'll put on a show Saturday night. Hope to see everyone there. So.
Well, Matt, we appreciate your time. Best of luck for this Saturday night, and we hope to, again, as we mentioned, talk to you after the fight, and you have a nice little accessory around your waist.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.